Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. In today's video, we are going to discuss about a possibility where we can see a complete breakdown of a transatlantic partnership, that is partnership between United States of America and Europe, more specifically European Union. So how can Europe survive without America, especially considering the risk that it faces from Russia, which is an aggressive neighbor of Europe, and can the European continent itself cope with Russia without any support of United States? Let us try to understand and analyze this in more detail. Now, we also are talking about this particular topic because very recently when a meeting was underway, or we can say telephonic conversation actually was underway between the Donald Trump, that is the President of the United States, and the Russian leader Vladimir Putin, they were discussing about the details of ceasefire. And during that time, Dmitry Medvedev, who was earlier briefly for a brief duration was President of Russia and also considered as a close aide of Vladimir Putin, he has made a remark on the social media platform, that is X, and there he has stated that the phone call between the President Putin and Trump clearly proves the idea that everyone agrees, everyone indirectly believes in, is that there is only Russia and America in the dining room. Now, what does this statement basically refers to? This statement says that even when the discussion is about the fate of Ukraine, about the ceasefire in Ukraine, Ukraine itself is not made a big part of the dialogue or discussion, and largely it is Russia and United States. These are the only two powerful countries that are determining the fate of Ukraine, and to some extent we can say the fate of the entire Europe as well. Also, while referring to the other smaller countries, he has referred that all these countries are irrelevant in nature. Their decision, their viewpoint is not something that matters a lot, especially in the security architecture of the entire European continent. Now, what are the factors that might have led to such kind of belief or understanding? So, first of all, the condescending approach that Medvedev has shown toward Europe aligns with the current Russian belief and swagger, and that is because of three recent developments. The first is that if you talk about the entire war that is going on for past few years between Russia and Ukraine, it now seems that Russia has an upper hand, as it is also taking the Kursk territory that Ukrainian for a brief duration of time has occupied in the last year. And also you talk about the entire battlefront, even though at a very slow grinding speed, but what we are witnessing is the retreat of Ukrainian military and further advancement of the Russian troops. Now, Trump also has, after coming, if you talk about the previous Biden administration, it was more aligned with the Ukrainian interest. It was keeping Ukrainian interest at what you can call as the pinnacle. While ever after coming of Donald Trump, he has taken a counter what you can say stance and is pressurizing Kyiv to compromise, even though if it has to permanently lose the territory to Russia, especially along the eastern front. And US also has try to what you can say hint about diluting its post World War II security commitment to Europe, largely as it is a leading partner of the NATO. The US President Donald Trump in this regard has clearly stated that if the NATO countries and those countries specifically who are not able to meet the percentage GDP that you have to spend on security architecture, security or defense, if those countries are not able to meet the commitment, US will not be keen or willing to what I can say help them in case of aggression or in case of war. Also, if we talk about the most close country to United States, Canada, US President Trump has clearly stated that Canada will not get any of the what you can call as the icebreaker ship that United States has ordered unless and until it pays for it. So, basically he has made the entire relation between European Union or European continent and America as more of transactional in nature, and these development is what is also causing a kind of happiness among the Russian security expert or Russian we can say politicians. Now, whether it is a win or loss for Russia, it is something we have to wait and watch, because there are two dimensions to it. First of all, for a very long duration of time, Russia has always wanted to separate United States and Europe so that it can play both of them, and Trump might have granted that wish because Trump seems to be more aligned with the Russian interest. He seems to be talking more what Putin specifically states, and he is taking what you can call as the aggressive stance against the allied of United States. And if the eventual outcome, however, can be different from what Russia has imagined. For example, due to the cold shoulder being given by United States, the cold shrug that Europe is receiving from United States, it seems that in a future there is a possibility that European Union can understand, the countries specifically can understand that it is better to be self-dependent rather overly reliant on United States, and that can cause rearming in the European continent specifically led by the countries such as France and Germany, and that is something that Russia would not want, because it will remind it of the adage that be careful what you wish for. While trying to weaken the European Union or European Union and United States partnership, it can actually in the end cause the strengthening or rearmament in the European Union itself. Now, if you try to understand about the response, what kind of response European leaders have given related to the entire development that we are seeing here. So, first of all, leaders are continuously debating several long-term strategies to cope with Russian security challenges on their own rather than being dependent on United States. And the first idea that is being mooted by many of the countries is the idea of military conscription. Military conscription in simpler terms can we understand that it is a necessary or what I can call as a mandatory practice by the youth to join the military to help the country or support the country. So, Croatia and Serbia, two countries already have instituted it. Also, we talk about certain countries such as Denmark, Finland and Sweden, they have had this conscription practices for many years, and this kind of practice is something that can then be instituted by all other European countries as well. This specifically become relevant because especially the powerful countries of Europe, if we talk about the northwestern Europe such as France, Germany, Italy and all, they are facing a demographic decline. That means the youth population is shrinking at a faster rate, and because of this the armed forces, the number of the armed soldiers are also continuously diminishing and diminuting. So, because of these changes, again mandatory conscription can be brought in. The second response obviously is boosting of the conventional military strength, and in this regard European Union recently has published a document called as Readiness 2030, and as per Readiness 2030 the first step the countries have taken is boosting their defense expenditure, and this we can understand from the fact that if you talk about the entire Europe itself, it has decided to spend $800 billion in extra defense spending, and this also has come after the Trump's calibration of US involvement in NATO. Second, if we talk about Germany, it has pledged additional spending of about $536 billion. For this, it already had made a constitutional change, and it has got bipartisan support or multi-party support in the Parliament of Germany. United Kingdom already has increased its fiscal stimulus to 2.5% of GDP so that it can spend more in the defense, and France, it has increased its share from 2.1 to 3% of GDP as far as a defense expenditure on NATO related expenditure is concerned. So, all these funding specifically gives us a hint and idea that now Europe is again trying to be dependent and self-dependent as far as the security is concerned. Apart from that, the one other area where discussion seems to be going right now is the area of nuclear weapons. Now, no country can neglect that nuclear weapons have a very important role to play as far as the security of a state is concerned, and this we can understand from the simple fact that if suppose the nuclear weapons were not taken back from Ukraine, would Russia have invaded it? That seems very unlikely. So, Russia's war in Ukraine has put an end to that argument that nuclear weapons do not matter for global security in the 21st century. It matters a lot, and today we cannot think of any situation where a nuclear armed country or nuclear weapon country can attack another nuclear weapon armed country. So, that is why that is going to be the other dimensions where countries can address the challenge. And the reason behind this is very simple, because if you look at the worldwide nuclear weapons, Russia and United States are the one which are having the largest number of arsenals, that is more than 5,000 in numbers. And if you compare, for example, we have discussed that the biggest threat European Union or Europe faces is from the neighbor Russia itself. So, if you look at the nuclear powered countries in European Union, you have two major countries, that is UK and France, and the combined arsenal of these countries are hardly 500. So, 5,000 from Russia and 500 from European Union. That is a kind of what we can say asymmetry that we see here, and this is something that European Union is also trying to address and bridge the gap. And also other thing that we have to understand about that in this case France also has not given or United Kingdom we talk about first of all, as per the treaty signed between United Kingdom and United States of America, the nuclear weapons of United Kingdom is also managed, controlled by the United States itself. So, in practical terms what we can understand that France is the only country in European Union which is having a nuclear arsenal and which is in complete control of its nuclear arsenal. Now, before moving further to understand what is the role of France or what is going to be the role of France in the overall security architecture of European Union, I would want to bring your attention toward a new batch that we are going to start in the Legacy IAS Academy. That is the regular batch Every day between Monday to Friday, classes will be held in 2 sessions, 10 to 1 am in the morning and 2 to 5 pm in the evening. Also, along with the classes, you will be having access to the frequent class tests that will be conducted, so that you can gauge the preparation, that is, you can gauge your preparation along with the classes, and then streamline your preparation and focus on your weak areas. Apart from the regular classroom, then we will also be tackling the classroom aspect in two ways. First, you will have the solid foundation that will be led by NCERT classes, and then further you have the advanced classes. You will also be having access to the mains writing, comprehensive writing and analysis program, and to tackle the end stage of the UPSC, you will be also getting guidance about the personality interview and personality test. Now, we have a strict policy of 40 students maximum per batch. So, if you lose a chance of April 17th to enroll in the April 17th batch, then the next batch that is going to start is on May 12th with same features. And those of you who are preparing for this examination along with a full-time job, you know that weekday is something where you cannot take out time. So, for them, or for those of you, we are having a weekend batch as well that is going to start on April 19th, and there on the Saturday and Sunday you will have the full day class between 10 am to 5 pm, and all the features and the facilities that is provided to the weekday batch students, regular batch students will be available to you as well, including the mentor or the access to the mentors where you can get a personal guidance. Now, those students who are appearing in the prelims examination this year itself, for you we have a free all India prelims mock test. You can enroll on our legacy test platform and can attend the test based on the preparation, based on the result. Then you can check and analyze your progress and can further take a step in the right direction and analyze your strengths and weaknesses. So, if you want to have any more information about it, you can call to this number as given in the screen, and then you can have full information about our programs or even the test. Now, coming back to this particular topic, France's role cannot be underestimated in the European security architecture, and in this context, the Emmanuel Macron, who is the president of France, he has already initiated consultation on how the nuclear deterrent that France has can play a role in European security. And this also he has said that is nothing but a long standing position that the France is trying to reaffirm, that it has a vital interest, and the security policy of France have a vital interest in a European security, and it is not only restricted to national scope, but it is having a European dimension. Its nuclear deterrent could contribute to broader European security. That is what actually he believes in. However, if we talk about the challenges that European countries are going to face, especially in the nuclear sphere, is going to be a lot. For example, we know that developing nuclear capabilities is not a simple task. It is extremely costly in nature and also technologically challenging in nature. Second, many countries will also face pressure because of the legal implications stemming from the nuclear non-proliferation treaty, where it has been decided that the countries who are not having nuclear weapons should not try to build any nuclear weapon, because that can again start an arms race, a new type of arms race. Moreover, France, you talk about, as we have discussed, practically it is the only country having full control of nuclear arsenal. France maintains full control over its nuclear forces, and also if you talk about the past instances, it has not shown any interest that is going to share decision making authority with any other partners, whether they are from the European Union or not, and that will complicate any European nuclear sharing arrangement. That means, in essence, what we can say, that France is going to be the ultimate and the final decision maker as far as the nuclear arsenal or its use in the future, if required, is concerned. Now, what can be the way forward? We know that Russia's policy has drifted between two extremes. One, where it has talked about a common European home, where in the beginning even Vladimir Putin, when he came to power, wanted to make Russia a part of a larger European Union, or what you can say as a larger European home. But on the other hand, also it had shown a policy and exhibited a policy of joint Russo-American condominium over Europe on the other. For example, the other approach of Russia that it has exhibited, especially post World War II, is it wanted to divide Europe into the two spheres of influence. One sphere of influence largely controlled by US and other by the Soviet Union that time, and now Russia. However, both of these today seems highly unlikely. Obviously, the concept of common European home is shattered after the Russian invasion on Ukraine, and a joint Russo-American condominium and division or the sphere of influence seems very, very unlikely, because a lot of waters have flowed in the river Danube since World War II, and a lot of the European countries, most of European countries, especially along the north and northwestern coast, will not want to have any extra interference of US in the peninsula or in the continent. So, the only realistic possibility that is that Europe in its own tortuous style, develops the necessary collective capabilities to build an armed peace. The deterrence of European Union or European region, they would want to bring or build to such an extent that Russia would think twice before having any kind of aggressive policy or aggressive stance. And in the last, what we can conclude, that if you look at the possibility, then we can say that it is very much possible that Europe can bring and build a lasting peace and can permanently deter the Russian aggression. And that is because if you compare both in terms of the manpower and in terms of the economy, European Union collectively have 350 million people and it has a collective GDP of $16 trillion. On the other hand, Russia has a total population of just 140 million and it has a GDP of just $2.2 trillion. So the concept that European Union by itself cannot tackle Russia is a kind of an anomaly, and that is something that we can see simply vanishing away when the countries, and especially the powerful countries of European Union, take a charge and take a right step in this particular direction. So that is all about this particular video. I hope you got the idea behind how Europe's security can be improved in the absence of United States. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, share it with your fellow aspirants, as well as subscribe to our channel for more such helpful content. Thank you very much.